Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bendigo Bank MCDFNL Footy Show for another week, talking all things footy and netball. We've been given a slap, so we've got to get the netball in there as well in the Maryborough Castlemaine District Football and Netball League once again. Sean Kelly's my name. Sam Gowers joins me as always. Sammy, welcome once again.
Always glad to be here, mate.
Big weekend, Anzac Day weekend. You got out and saw a couple of games over the weekend too?
I did go and see a couple of games. Good games as well, high quality football.
Very, very good. Let's have a look at some of the results now. We're going to simplify the results a little bit starting this week. We'll put the final scores up on the screen. We'll read through them. We'll highlight any big performances. For best players and goal kickers, head to the fixtures results section on this very website to check them out. Save you a bit of time so that you're not mulling through dribble every week on the Footy Show. Navarre, 21-14, 140, defeating the Rovers, 6 goals, 5-41. Cody Driscoll, 5 goals for Navarre, the standout goal kicker on the day. Harcourt, 21-11, 137, defeating Denali, 10-5, 65, 5 goals from big Adam Pollock for Harcourt. The two night games on Anzac Day, Carisbrook, 16-10, 106, defeating Royal Park, 10-8, 68. He's back. Big Nate, 6 goals back into the Carisbrook side. 6 goals, 3, and I heard got pretty well held as well, so the big man could be in for a big year. Good win by Trentham coming over the top of Talbot, 13-5, 83 to Talbot, 10-10, 70. Talbot letting go another game where it was in their grasp at three-quarter time. Campbell's Creek, 19-13, 127, defeating Newstead, 8-5, 53. Good way for Creek to get on the board. Mark Ashmore, 5 goals, moves into the leading goal kicker position in the league. Lexington 21-10, 136, defeating Malden 7-11, 53. 6 of Malden's 7 goals coming in the final quarter. Matthew Brown back into the Lexington side, kicking 5 goals. And the last game of the weekend, Natty Bialaba versus Avoca for the Adrian Pilgrim Cup. It was Natty Bialaba 11-19, 85, defeating Avoca 4-8, 32. That man Pilgrim kicking 2 goals in the third quarter for Natty as well. Looking at the netball results from round 2 in the A-grade competition. Great to have netball back on, and next week we're going to have a netball guest, Rachel Phelan from the Lexington Football Netball Club, on the show. She's just found that out now, Sammy, so gives her plenty of time to prepare. Good on you, Rach. Thanks for volunteering your services. Harcourt 54, defeating Denali 18. It was Navarre 83, defeating the Maryborough Rovers 16. Jess Parry and Rowner Davis both shooting in excess of 40 goals. Carisbrook 53, defeating Royal Park 21. Trentham 34, defeating Talbot 21. Great to see Trentham up and about on the winners list in the A-grade netball. Newstead 84, Campbell's Creek 19, Meeson 55 goals for the Steaders on the weekend. Lexington 41 against Malden 35. Close game between those two sides. Have played a lot of finals, and speaking of close games, preliminary final rematch from last. In fact, it was a finals rematch. They didn't play in the prelim, but Avoca 34 defeating Natty Bialaba 33. Natty Bialaba's first home and away loss since the 2013 season. Sammy?
Yes, indeed. They weren't too happy about it, the girls either. Always dirty to go down to the arch rivals of Avoca.
As you would be. Talking point time, of course. Our 3 talking points. Huge reception once again for the talking points. Keeping people in the know was the comment that I got.
Really?
Yes.
Always good to get some good feedback, mate.
It is indeed. Talking point number 1, the MCDFNL naming our senior interleague squad this past week. We're going to defer to somebody greater than you or I to speak about this, Sammy Gowers, because we're dragging Scott Carey into the studio for this one, of course, the operations manager of the league and a man who sat in the room along with the coaching staff to help select this squad. So, Sammy, you're out. Scotty Carey, come in. All right, folks, we're here on the MCDFNL Footy Show with League Operations Manager Scott Carey. Scotty, thanks for joining us, mate.
All right, Shawnee.
Talk to us a little bit about the selection of the interleague squad this year. Obviously, it's a big squad, and we've also got the development players involved. So let us know a little bit about the process of how this squad got selected.
Yeah, so the coaches met on Monday night to pick the side. It is a bit of a difficult task this time of year, only having a couple of rounds to go off with past results. So the guys taking a couple of things into account, obviously last year's performances as well. Guys that have been in the side over the past couple of years, also the clearances into the league. So we do know a little bit about some guys coming in from other leagues that we have to take into account as well. So it is a tough job to narrow it down, but I think we've got a good selection of players, including the development players, which is fantastic for the league to have 5 or 6 players that are up and coming from the juniors over the past couple of years, and we really want to get them involved in the system and get a taste of seeing interleague football. If they're good enough to make it, good on them. Good
Which
luck
we
to
saw
them.
last year with Cody and
absolutely.
Ben Kroll.
And they stood up very well. So it is a bit of a development opportunity for those kids, and hopefully it works well for the future.
Talk to us a little bit about the first training session happened this past Wednesday night up at Princes Park. Well attended. How did they go? Obviously the coaching staff ran through a few things with the boys.
Yeah, just a nice, easy night to get into it. I think a bit of a chat at the start, just a bit of a more of an information session as well. But certainly there was about 30 on the track, I think, for the first session, which is good. Considering the short notice with training, it was great to see some guys there, but plenty of commitment from the guys. A lot of guys did get in touch with LT and said, I want to be part of it. I can't maybe make it tonight, but a fantastic start, and the guys are really enthused about the upcoming match.
How did LT go in the first session, mate? Just really got control of the reins?
Yeah, he does, mate. He's very well respected amongst the MCDFNL, and he's going to do a fantastic job, and I think he's really keen for it.
You saw the squad come up on the screen over these last couple of minutes. Any names in there that have kind of shot out at you, or blokes that will probably be really well suited to this interleague concept?
Yeah, and they're probably guys that have played the last couple of years. I think there is a lot of experience in that squad. When you've got a Berry Power medalist, Damon Asplin in there.
Yep.
A couple of guys like your biggest clubs, I suppose, Lex and Navarre at the moment have got a fair chunk of the squad, but that's going to hold us in good stead. They have been the top performing sides the last couple of years, and they do have quality players in there. But to have every club feature in the squad, I think, and represented is fantastic.
Yep.
So it's good depth and good. It's going to be a strong side, I reckon, Shaun.
In the league we're playing this year, the Allenbank District Footy League, from down Warragul Way, where you grew up, do you know much about the league and about the players that might come down?
Yeah, it is good footy. It's a bit fairly similar, I reckon, to the Merrill Castlemaine footy, mate. So, look, without seeing their squad, I'm not too sure. There will be a few guys, hopefully I know, and can pass on some knowledge to LT and the rest of the coaching staff. But,
yep.
They had a good win last year, and they're going to be tough opponents. They play some pretty handy footy down there.
So what's the training schedule from here on in again for the boys?
Yeah, so the next couple of Wednesday nights are going to be at Princes Park for the guys, and hopefully have the side picked the week before interleague, which will allow the team to gel on that final week and train Tuesday, Thursday, just like a normal footy side.
Yep.
Into a jumper presentation and straight into the match on the 23rd of May.
Which, of course, is at Princes Park as well. Big day. We've got, obviously, under 18 footy as well as a full day netball. So start to put that one in the diary now.
Absolutely. It will be a fantastic day, mate, including the under 16 footy as well. So
yep.
A lot of our upcoming juniors, including the netball as well in that day. So it'll be a fantastic day to get there and see a high standard of football and netball.
Well, Scotty, thanks for joining us, mate. We'll throw it back into the studio. We'll get Sammy's opinion on the squad so far. Thanks for joining us, and no doubt we'll see you on the footy show again in coming weeks.
No worries, Shawnee. Happy to be here.
Scott Carey, the operations manager of the MCDFNL. We've heard from Scotty about the interleague side. Sam, you've had a good look at the side. You've analysed it in its entirety. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, pretty good looking side. I don't think there'd be too many blokes out there that could be dirty that they didn't get picked. And nice to see all the clubs represented as well. Obviously, fair contingents from both Navarre and Lexington being the two probably standout sides, and Carysbrook getting a few boys in as well.
Yeah, as well, some really good lineups, some really good strength there, and of course they had their first training run this past Wednesday night as well at Princes Park, and great to see the boys out on the track as well under the guidance of LT, who has just done a fantastic job so far up to this point. We're looking forward to him continuing that.
We are genius football brain, so we'll see how he goes.
We will indeed. Talking point number 2, a team that is up and about at the moment, the Harcourt Football Club, absolutely flying, wins in their first 2 games, and Shaun Smith's come back in and he has transformed the look of this side.
He has. We saw Harcourt work just okay last year, but Smith's come in, brought some big names with him, Pollock, his brother Joel Smith, and doing great things for Harcourt. 2 big wins in the first 2 rounds.
And those 2 boys that you mentioned have been prolific in the first 2 games as well. Adam Pollock, 6'10", he's just a huge man. He's playing good footy at the moment. And of course, Joel Smith can leap tall buildings in a single bound, and he is doing quite well as well.
He is, and then you throw Shaun Smith himself and Chris Stone into the mix, and that's a pretty formidable forward line.
And Paul Chaplin turning back the clock.
Paul Chaplin, former Berry Power medalist, doing some of his best work against Denali on the weekend. Very
much liking the look of Harcourt at the moment, taking on Avoca this weekend up at Sims Dental Reserve. They'll start favourites in that one and could be Harcourt's best start to a season in many years, and they could be forcing their way into that Big 4, Big 5 conversation as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they go over the next couple of weeks.
It will be interesting to see if they can maintain their pace.
Talking point number 3, of course, Anzac Day round last weekend, and the Anzac ceremonies that went on before games. Absolutely fantastic to see. MCDFNL clubs get around it and embrace the Anzac spirit. Just want to give the shout out and the talking point to all the home clubs from last weekend that organised their Anzac Day ceremonies. Absolutely fantastic to see. We've seen some footage from Trentham with their ceremony, their game against Talbot on the weekend. Well done to Campbell's Creek and Newstead, organising something on Sunday as well in conjunction with the RSL, and just really good to see the Anzac spirit living on in this 100th year of the Gallipoli Landing.
Yeah, fantastic to see all the clubs acknowledging the contribution that the Anzacs have made to Australia.
It is indeed, and we will hope that Anzac spirit lives on. Of course, Anzac Day back to a standalone day next year with the leap year. It's on a Monday next year, so interesting to see what happens in Anzac round next year. Clubs have got 12 months to start preparing for it, so
they better get their thinking caps on.
Speaking of thinking caps, it's time you got yours on, because it's time to look at this week's games in the Bendigo Bank MCDFNL, our senior football games, and the one that we mentioned before, Harcourt taking on Avoca at Sims Dental Reserve. Pretty important game for both clubs. We know Harcourt are flying. Avoca, they're zip 2 now, and they do not want to drop this one because they'll start to really fall back from the pack.
Yeah, I had a look at Avoca on the weekend, obviously taking on Natty. They were okay, but the start that Harcourt's had, I can't see the Bulldogs getting over the top here.
Yeah, I don't think against Harcourt, okay is going to cut the muster at the moment. I think you need to be a little bit better than that. Some good players with Avoca, and they missed a good one on the weekend with Henningsen not in the side, Mick Henningsen as well. The Slater boys are looking okay, but geez, Harcourt are up and about at the moment.
They certainly are, and like we keep saying, that forward line is going to be really, really, really hard to stop.
It is indeed, especially with the height they've got down there. You need to find some good defenders to do that. Harcourt for me.
Harcourt for me too.
Trentham taking on Campbell's Creek. Another night game out at Trentham this week under the beautiful lights down there at Royal Trentham. Good wins by both these sides last week, probably against the odds for both of them as well. In particular, Campbell's Creek's winning margin against Newstead. It was a smacking, let's put it bluntly. It was an absolute demolition job that they did. That'll get their confidence up. Mark Ashmore's flying at the moment. Trentham will also gain some confidence from their come-from-behind win against Talbot.
Yeah, both these clubs are probably, I'd say, flying under the radar at the start of the season. I'm going to go with Trentham purely because it's down there on their home ground under lights.
Did it without Cal Wellings last week as well, who is an absolute star, is one of the first blokes picked in the interleague squad this week. And interestingly, 17 years old, not in the development squad, just bang, straight in main squad.
Yeah, well, Cal's put in some good performance over the last couple of seasons, so well done to him for getting picked as, a full player.
I'm going with Trentham in this one, but I'm not confident with it, because Creek, when they're up and about, can play some good footy. The Bogue boys have got them going really well at the moment. Shawnee's got them doing a great job, and Mark Ashmore, if he keeps kicking goals, he's going to be a really good pickup once again for Creek. He kicked some goals for them a couple of years back. If he can do it again, I just reckon, I'm with you. I'm tipping Trentham because it's at home, because it's at night, because it's going to be cold at Trentham, all that kind of stuff, but would not surprise me to be wrong here.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if we're both wrong.
Doesn't happen often, but that's part of the reason why it's a surprise.
We'll admit to it, but the players that we saw Creek lose at the end of last year, everyone thought, they're probably going to battle this year, and they're off to a flyer.
They are indeed. They are going quite nicely, are Campbell's Creek. Newstead taking on Carisbrook this week at Newstead. This one could get ugly, I feel. Newstead just not there at the moment. They've got some, obviously they've lost some players. They've got some, they can't get a good core of players at the moment, whereas Carisbrook just did the job nicely last weekend up against Royal Park under lights. They'll relish going out to Newstead in the daytime this week, and just feel that Carisbrook will get this one done quite easily.
Yeah, they certainly will. In seasons past, we probably would have said this is game of the round.
Definitely.
The slide that Newstead are on, especially over these first 2 rounds, they got smacked by Campbell's Creek, like you said. Long time since the Magpies have inflicted that sort of damage on the Steaders.
20 years.
20 years.
First loss in 20 years, I heard quoted during the week.
Well, there you go. So, yeah, pretty hard to tip against the Redbacks here.
Big Nath?
Big Nath, going to pencil him in for 5.
5, that's a bad day out for the big man, let's be honest.
Might be a bit tired after last week.
7. Just drop him in for 7 there. We've got some more on Big Nath coming up in future weeks as well. A couple of boys have said that they don't mind us potting him at every opportunity we get, and they're going to give us a little bit of assistance with it. So we're going to have plenty of bullets in the gun that's going to be pointed straight at you, Nathan Wright. So very much get around that. Get around Malden taking on Denali this week at Bill Woodfull Reserve. Interesting game. Denali, nothing to show for their season yet, but have been there or thereabouts. Maldon, tough against the Lexington team last week. Only had one goal up until three-quarter time, but we know on their day, as we saw the week before against Newstead, got some very talented players in that team.
And that's why I'm going to go for Maldon in this one. I think Denali's probably just slightly off Maldon's level. Maldon's brought in a couple of really classy players. I think that'll get him over the line.
Yeah, Maldon for me too. Don't mind the way they've started the season. A lot of teams are going to get down and taken to the sword by Lexington this year, so it's not too much of a disgrace in that game last week. Be interesting to see how they rebound from it this week, and I think they'll get the job done. Talbot taking on Lexington at Talbot on the weekend. Tough time for Talbot to come up against Lexington. Coming off a couple of games that they acknowledged that they thought they should have won. They almost penciled them in, to be honest with you. Coming up against the Lexington side that are absolutely flying at the moment. Not a good time to be Matthew Smith.
Not at all. Sherman keeps making excuses for them losing, but it just looks like they've run out of legs by the first 2 weeks. They've been up at three-quarter time and then go down in the final term, and you can't afford to do that against Lexington, so I reckon things could get a bit ugly here for the Hawks.
Yeah, look, I reckon Talbot will fight it early. As you said, they're starting games okay. It's just, they can't run out of game at the moment. They get past three-quarter time, and whether it's they're not fit, whether it's they've run out of legs, they haven't had that conditioning, I'm not sure. I haven't seen Talbot myself, so I can't give that opinion. But from the evidence that's been seen and from some chats I've had with some Talbot people, it just seems that it's quite frustrating that they can't run out those games at the moment. It's going to be a tough day for them against Lexington. Tides by plenty.
Yeah, I agree.
Got Tigers for both of us in that one. Match of the round, this one is going to be an absolute beauty on Saturday afternoon. Navarre taking on Natty Bialaba out at Navarre. Both these teams started in fantastic fashion in season 2015, and I believe there was there a final between these two last year, 1v4, where Natty really took it up to Navarre, and I think it was 3 or 4 goals that Navarre won by, but they never really got out and got into a gallop throughout the day. So Natty, one of those teams that traditionally trouble Navarre, but Navarre in very, very good form at the moment. 24 wins on the trot.
Very hot form, but like you said, Natty does seem to trouble Navarre. There's just something there. Good rivalry between these two clubs as well. I'm going to tip Natty, but that's only
tipping with the heart,
tipping with the heart, not the head. Yeah,
I'm tipping Navarre just because they haven't given me a reason in the last year and a half not to.
Yeah, no, they're a class act, Navarre, and be interesting.
Will be a close one though, I'll admit that. I reckon Natty will really give them a push in this one. Great to see some of the younger Natty players rewarded for their season so far with selection in that interleague squad. Tommy Douglas is a ripper. Trent Mortlock in the development squad will learn a lot from being around. Even if he doesn't play, will learn a lot from being in that environment, and hopefully that takes him back to Natty as a better footballer.
Yeah, both those boys have started the season really, really well. Like you said, Tom Douglas is a ripper. He's just a jet. And Trent Mortlock playing some really, really good footy at halfback for Natty. So, yeah, good on both those young boys.
Having said that, 10 of the blokes in their opposition in that interleague squad as well, and 10 blokes that are almost, obviously Billy Parry in the development side, but the other 9 blokes basically pick themselves.
They certainly do, full credit to Navarre. They've got a very, very good setup up there.
They're flying at the moment. Sunday game this week, just the one. And I tell you what, if you're not doing anything actually, it's not just the one game because our youth girls team start on Sunday as well. So it'd be remiss of us if we didn't mention them. There's the graphic on the screen at the moment. They're up and about. They're playing at Jubilee Oval this week. So get around our youth girls team. Big things coming from them this year. Their coach, of course, the great Bricky Weatherson, has almost guaranteed finals.
Almost guaranteed finals.
Big inclusion. Shamika Sadler coming into the side this year, who played for the Maryborough Magpies last year and is playing in the Vic Countryside. Probably won't play this weekend because she'll be heading over to Perth for the Vic Countryside. Lauren Butler is an emergency in that squad as well. So big things expected from the youth girls.
And big words from Weatho.
Real big words from Weatho for a big man, let's be honest. But the other game happening on Sunday afternoon, the other battle for Maryborough, Royal Park taking on the Maryborough Rovers at Hedges Oval. Royal Park zip 2, Rovers, can't count them out in this one. They got dusted by Navarre last week, but like we said about Lexington Maldon before, plenty of sides are going to have that happen to them from Navarre this year. And if Rovers can show what they did in round 1, they'll push Bushy here.
They certainly will. Rovers have been a bit of a surprise packet, whereas Bushy, there was a lot of talk about them pre-season. They've got nothing to show so far, so this should be an absolute ripper of a game. That being said, I'm going to go for the Tigers, only because I've seen them play this year, and I think they just have a little bit too much class.
I'm going for Bushy because they have to win this. If they lose this and drop Zip 3, just about kiss top 4 goodbye. Because you've got to win 10 games to finish top 4. That means they have to win 13 out of 13. Tough ask for anybody. So, need to win it. Think we'll win it. Won't be easy for them though.
No, both the teams have come up against so far are Natty and Carisbrook, who are two teams that you
They'll
think
probably
will
be two top 4 teams, let's be
going to
honest.
feature around the mark. So, yeah, probably haven't seen Bushy at their best yet.
I agree with that one wholeheartedly, and I think they'll get over the line this week. That's it for this week. We thank Scotty Carey for coming in and talking to us about the Interleague squad. We thank Sam Gowers for his always expert opinions, mate. Thank you once again.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
We'll get that netball flavour well and truly back into the show next week. Rach Phelan from the Lexington Football Netball Club coming in, and we will discuss everything MCDFNL when we join you once again next week. We'll see you then.